Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Adolph, Industry Vice President of Global Public Sector here at Appian. And I'm really excited today to have with us one of our premier partners, Ignyte Group. Ignyte has been doing a lot of work in Appian recently, and as part of our recent Federal Partner Cup, they were actually the winner with the solution that you're going to hear about today around mental health case management. We look to Ignyte as a really great partner for some of our most interesting and complex user experiences, especially when things like user experience are some of the most important points that our customers care about. We've seen, because they're based here in DC, they've got great alignment with our government clients and have expanded into a number of areas, both public and private. And what you're seeing today, I believe, will have pretty significant implications for both our public sector customers, especially in health agencies, but also our healthcare customers that do this type of care management. What we're going to do today is a couple of things. I'm going to introduce the team. I'm going to turn it over to the Ignyte Group. They're going to go through a presentation on their solution, and then we're going to get a demo of that solution. You have the ability to do questions and answers, and you can put them in the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we're going to have some time at the end to be able to answer those questions. So what I'd like to do is introduce the folks that are on the call today. So first is Jason Stanis. He's the CTO with Ignyte. We have Megan Markert, who's one of the product managers at Ignyte, and Liam Caracciolo, who's one of the lead engineers here at Ignyte as well. We also have Ben Randall on the call, who is a healthcare solutions engineer. So what I wanted to do first is, in turning it over to Jason, he's going to give us an overview of Ignyte, but I guess the first question I wanted to start with was, why this solution and why now?
Thanks, Jason. We looked at this solution as a really, from a few different lenses, right? We said, hey, what can we do for mental health? What can we do to improve patient engagement? And what can we do to improve case management? And why would Appian or low code be a great solution for that? Well, for mental health, the speed and flexibility of using Appian to really rapidly put together a solution that can meet any individual client's needs, but also having that flexibility that it really does operate and function exactly how they need to, which we think in mental health is critical, because every provider may want to organize their program a little bit differently. In terms of patient engagement, especially the recent developments in the user experience and the mobile-ready capabilities of Appian really allowed us to really think outside the box to create a really powerful patient engagement engine, which we're excited to show you guys today. And then on case management side, right? Obviously, Appian's recognized as a leader in case management overall, and just the world-class scalable platform that allows us to build something that we know really is an enterprise-grade solution is really exciting for us.
Yeah, and Jason, I think that from a timeliness perspective, given what going before COVID, we were dealing with the opioid crisis, which is a significant mental health issue across America, and now obviously going into COVID and the kind of the crushing blow for a lot of folks that had these types of issues. So I think you picked something that really is timely and really is helpful for a lot of people. So with that, I'm going to go dark and turn it over to you.
Hey, thank you, Jason. So first, I wanted to take a brief minute to introduce Ignyte. We are, as we mentioned, we're a partner with Appian, and we've been so since 2017. We've been growing and growing in the solutions that we take to market, and we're really excited to share this one with you today. We support a number of industries, right? We're based in DC, focused on federal, but we have expanded out in doing a lot of work with commercial. And I think the key takeaway here is, when you're working with Ignyte, we try to be more than just a solution delivery partner. We really look at ourselves as a full lifecycle transformation firm. So we're here to help you get from the strategy all the way through the adoption of a new system or implementation. And we think that gives us a unique perspective and allows us to really assess all sides of what's needed and really help you to drive transformations. For our solution today, we're going to show you the mental health case management solution, and that has a number of rich capabilities that we are really proud of and happy to share with you. First and foremost, it's based on a solid case management engine. Appian's platform capabilities, all the great things that you know with Appian Records and the analytics, but we really tried to tailor it for the use case and the needs of mental health professionals. On top of that, we've added an intuitive mobile experience for patients. And with healthcare applications, HIPAA compliance is obviously front of mind. So what we've done is obviously you have the HIPAA compliant Appian platform, but also all of the additional technologies that we were able to integrate to provide a rich solution. We made sure that each and every one of those was HIPAA compliant before we included them in the solution. So you're going to see how we did that. Finally, it's really key to show electronic health record integration with any kind of healthcare application. And we have a couple different ways we've done that, but the most important one is the standards-based methods that our team is going to show you. And then, again, integrating some of the advanced machine learning and artificial intelligence technologies to drive clinical decision support. We're really integrating that into the workflow so it's seamless. It's not like a separate application to do clinical decision support. It's delivered to you right at the point of care. We're going to show you some interesting ways we've done that. I'm going to hand it over to Liam, who's going to walk us through the day in the life scenarios that we're going to show you today.
Thanks, Jason. So yeah, in this application, we went ahead and approached it from two different perspectives. So that's the patient and the healthcare provider. So starting very briefly on the patient perspective, again, we wanted to have everything centered around patient engagement. And, leveraging Appian's ability to have native mobile-ready applications on both iOS and Android right out of the box was obviously, a massive plus. Moving down, we also wanted to hit on overall metrics, things like overall wellness score based on patient response, patient engagement, things of that nature. And then also dynamic emergency actions. So just making sure that patients have the tools they need right at their fingertips. Moving over to the provider portion, we wanted to give the provider as many impactful actions as possible. So starting with the ability to manage your overall population health, just right at a glance at the dashboard, something we'll get to later. Integrated seamlessly with advanced clinical decision support, as well as data synchronization with several different EHRs, notably the HL7 standard, as well as the more kind of up-and-coming blockchain-based EHRs. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead into our mental health case management demo, and we'll go ahead and I will share my screen. Excellent. So right here, I'm on my iPhone, and I'm signed in as a patient. And right here is my patient portal. So at a glance, we can see some important information such as, my recent health, be it treatments or results ready to view. Down here, we have the ability, again, in the interest of patient engagement, the ability to check in with your mood right here on your phone, something that I'll come back to shortly. As well as at the bottom, we have these call now links. And so these links, we want to be dynamic based on things such as geolocation. So, okay, I'm in Virginia, so I have access to Mental Health America of Virginia. But also, we want to motivate it based on things like patient history, treatments, things of that nature. Again, trying to put the most important and useful actions right at a touch for the end user. So going ahead and drilling into our daily mood check-in. As we can see here, we have an option here to say how our mood was. So let's say today, I was mostly happy. How much did I sleep last night? I wish I could say it was a good 9, but it was probably more like 7. And again, I'd love to say my diet was excellent, but let's be realistic. It was probably just okay. But we did do a pretty good amount of exercise. And then right here at the bottom, I have the option to put in some additional information. So I'll go ahead and I'll say, today was pretty good. I was a bit anxious at times. So I have 2 different things I kind of want to talk about on this page. The first thing being at the top, we have our 4 major metrics. So my overall mood, my sleep, my diet, and my exercise. What we're going to do with that information is we're going to pass it into an advanced pattern recognition algorithm. And this is looking for trends, not just surface level trends like, hey, this person's been, having a, crummy 2 or 3 days in a row. Because while we are looking for trends like that, we're also looking for things, that are maybe a bit more, you got to dig a little deeper to see like, hey, maybe on, every Saturday, this person's not getting the sleep they should. Or, we're noticing on Friday, they're just really not eating, or, things like that. And then down here at the bottom are additional notes on this freeform field, as well as several other freeform fields throughout the application. We're actually passing this information into an advanced sentiment analysis algorithm. So what this is doing is it's parsing through the free text, and it's going through and it's scoring each words, and it's scoring the overall sentiments, and it's, associating a risk score associated with the response. And then with the combination of the pattern recognition as well as the sentiment analysis, we're using that to power our clinical decision support engine, which we'll see later on in the application. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to submit our daily check-in. And as you can see, we're back here on the home page. Moving across the bottom, we have our Get Care tab. And I just want to hit on these 3 actions we see at the bottom. So those being Meet Now, Meet Later, and Chat with Us. So Meet Now is powered by Microsoft Teams, just giving you the ability to, in a situation where if you needed to meet with, a trusted healthcare worker ASAP, you can do that right here without even leaving the application. Meet Later utilizes our Microsoft Outlook integration, so the ability to go ahead and schedule a meeting in the future. And then Chat with Us is built on top of the Microsoft Bots framework, and just the ability to talk either with an AI-powered chatbot or actually a real person on the other end of the line. And then moving into the last tab I want to tackle on mobile is the My Health Record. The first thing I'd like to talk about is the wellness score. So the wellness score is based on the sentiment analysis portion that I'd spoken on earlier. So 0 being, serious worries, and 10 being, okay, this person's doing quite well. And as you can see, we have that tracked over time. And then I'd also like to come into right here to actually see some more details on my individual record. So as we can see here, I can see my individual check-ins, as well as the ability to go through my treatments. And I can see some more details as I drill in. Moving down to assessments. And again, I can see some more information on my assessments here. So, not only are we providing the end user with the ability to take impactful actions from the, right there on their phone at a couple, simple touches, we're also providing them any information they'd need and really kind of putting that healthcare record right in their phone, and kind of demystifying the whole process. So what I'm going to go ahead and do now is transition over from our individual patient portal actually over to our healthcare provider portal. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing that. Come over and share here. Excellent. So what we have right here is our healthcare provider dashboard. So at a glance, we wanted to, like the patient dashboard, provide the necessary metrics and the necessary actions based on those metrics as impactful and as seamless of an experience as possible. So I'm going to walk us through this page here. Starting here on the left, we have some quick actions. So be it the ability to onboard a new patient, the ability, again, powered by our Microsoft Outlook integration, the ability to schedule a new appointment or to add a new community event to your system. We went ahead and we just added these, three things that, would be, especially useful in a healthcare provider standpoint. Again, leveraging the power of Appian low-code process modeling, as well as, its seamless low-code integration capabilities. These could be anything, but, we figured these were impactful and a great place to start with. Moving down, we have our upcoming appointments. Again, this is pulling information in from our Microsoft Outlook, so kind of showing off a little bit of that two-way integration we have going on there. Moving across the page, now more so in the center, we just have some standard Appian reporting. Something Appian really excels with is the ability to, be it you have the data internally in your tables or you have data stored somewhere externally, you can go ahead and do any sort of reporting you'd like on that. So here we have a breakdown of daily check-ins as well as patients by support domain. Across the top, we have some patient metrics which are aggregated across our entire system. We have total patients, new patients, as well as an overall globally of that wellness score that we talked about before. Moving down the page, we have our patient directory. So what we can see here is kind of an overall of how that patient has been doing on their daily mood check-ins, as well as some quick actions. So the ability to view more of their health record, actually send them an email, or go ahead and send out a web call. And then the last thing I want to talk about on this page kind of comes back to that clinical decision support and the ability to take actions off of these, pattern recognition and sentiment analysis algorithms. So based on a patient's wellness score, and whether or not they're improving over time, we're actually going to see we're going to see a flag, and we're going to say, okay, this person's actually a health risk. And, based on that recognition, we have the ability with a click to come in, and now we're met with some more resources. So if this person is in need of, immediate help, we have the option to, call them right now, meet with them right now, and, get them the support they need. If perhaps it's a little less pressing, we can schedule an appointment in the future. And if neither of those things are working, you have the option to speak with their emergency contact. So that's everything I wanted to show on the homepage. So I am going to go ahead and now drill into an individual record. So if this was kind of the top level view of everyone's, kind of an aggregate view of, all of my patients as a whole, now I'm kind of looking at a single patient at a time. So as we come ahead and we look at the left side of the screen, we can see some record actions. And again, these are going to be reasonably similar to the most part to some of the stuff we've already seen. So we have the ability to meet now, again, leveraging our Microsoft Teams integration, the ability to kick off a new appointment with our Outlook integration, as well as the ability to do some pretty standard Appian, kick off some standard Appian workflows. So the ability to create a new assessment, as well as the ability to create or log a new treatment for this patient. Up top, we have the patient's upcoming appointments. So we can see that they have 2 appointments on February 5th. And then we can see a breakdown of their treatments, and an overview of their daily history. And again, trying to, showing off their wellness score, right here on the homepage. Moving across, we can go ahead and we can see more information on this patient's appointments, as well as actually have the ability to do several appointment-related actions, those being the ability to create a new appointment, as well as meet now with this individual.
Hey, Liam, can you try, are we set up where we can do a meet now?
Sure, we can do that. So as we can see right here, we're actually spinning up a new Microsoft Teams room. And from there, my patient would have the ability to join, and we could, have a conversation right here, right now. Awesome. Moving across the top, again, we're now here in our community events tab. So here as the provider, I can see upcoming community events, and then I actually have the option to sign this patient up for those events. And then here on the right, I can just see a list of all of the upcoming events. Moving along, we can again have another view at our daily check-ins. So here we can see this patient's daily check-in history, as well as the ability to kind of drill in and see an individual instance of their mood for that day. And then heading over to our treatments tab, again, we can see this chart we saw before, which is treatments by type, as well as the ability to add a new treatment, But if we come over here, we can actually see details and drill into the individual treatments. And I want to take a moment here to talk about some of the electronic health record integrations that we worked into this application, utilizing Appian's low-code integration capabilities. So the first of those EHR capabilities, and the first one we'd actually built out, was the ability to add a patient record to a EHR on a blockchain. So utilizing the Ethereum network, we have a simulated blockchain, or we have a simulated electronic health record on the blockchain. We actually have the ability to write treatments to and read treatments from that blockchain. And then we also, after that, went ahead and built out an EHR connection using the FHIR standard, HL7, and, showing the ability to both read and write to that, to just kind of show that, Appian has the ability to, so Appian has the ability to really play nice with all sorts of these, great EHR technologies and really any sort of integration suite in general. So as we can see right here, I can look at Anthony's treatment details, and I actually have the ability to, at a click, send that information via the FHIR standard to a simulated EHR on the other end. And then the last tab I actually want to show is the assessments tab. And again, we can see our mean wellness score as well as the ability to add a new assessment. And then we also have the ability to drill in and see information about any of the patient's past assessments. So that, from a top level, is everything I wanted to show in terms of the patient view and the provider view. And now I would like to hand it over to Megan, who's going to take a minute to show you guys, just how you can leverage Appian to make quick and impactful changes to your application.
Great, thanks, Liam. So I'm going to be showing off two changes within Appian today. The first of those is tailoring the branding and styling of the sites that we're on. So for that, I'll be making changes to our provider portal. And then the second change I'm going to be showing off is adding in or making some tweaks to an existing workflow we have. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in with sharing my screen. All right. So as I said, the first change we're going to be making is in changing the branding for our site. So there are two steps we're going to be doing in that. The first is going into our provider dashboard. This is the interface rule that at the top level is defining what that whole dashboard looks like. So right now I'm in Appian's design mode. So this is the drag and drop option that Appian provides for us to configure our interfaces. You can see on the left, we can drag and drop all sorts of components. But for our purposes today, what I'm going to be doing is modifying this billboard layout. So if I click into here, it provides us information about that billboard layout. And so this billboard layout is backed with an image that we've uploaded. And what I want to do for this today is switch out that image. Now I've already uploaded that image to Appian. So what I'm doing for our demo today is switching out that document ID. So that's what this is right here. All right, so once I hit OK, you can see that automatically updates in our preview for the dashboard here. So I'm going to go ahead and save that change. And I'm going to swap over to our site here and refresh that just so you can see that that change has already taken place. So you can see right here, we have that nice new image with new colors and a new logo on the right here. Now the second step is you can see we still have this top header bar up here and it's still the old blue. We want to change that so that it matches our nice new colors here. So I'm going to swap back to our objects pane here and click into our site. And this is where we can configure those colors that we have. Now, Appian provides us a very easy way to update the colors through the site as a whole, and that's down here in this branding section for these colors. So Appian lets you either enter any hex code you'd like, or you can select from a list of colors here, or you can even go so far as to choose any color you'd like from the rainbow. But for our purposes today, I'm going to be choosing a couple of the colors we have in the pre-selected colors. All right. So you can see it was easy as just a couple clicks for changing those colors here. I'm going to go ahead and save that and go back over to our site and give that a refresh. Now you can see our colors now match our newly updated billboard layout right there. All right, so for the second change I'd like to make, hold on one second here. We're going to be updating one of our existing workflows. So we're going to be diving into this process model, MHM notify patients of daily check-in. So currently what this does is it kicks off automatically every day at 8 p.m. and looks through all of our patients and checks to see if any of them haven't completed their daily check-in for the day. And for any of those who haven't, we go ahead and send them a push notification to their mobile phones. So for today, what we'd also like to do is we'd like to check to see if any of those patients haven't completed their daily check-in 3 days in a row. In that case, we're going to also send an email to their providers to say, hey, this person hasn't submitted their daily check-in 3 days in a row. Maybe we want to check in on them. All right, so for this change, we've already set up a couple of variables just to get us started here. This patients with multiple missed check-ins and provider email recipients. And we are querying for those values already in this determine recipients node. So we already have both of these populated for us. So what I'm going to be showing off is setting up sending that email. So to do that, I have 3 different nodes that I need to add. So let me add those real quick and then we can start going through them. All right, so I've added an XOR node, send email, and script task. We're going to start off on this XOR node. So in here, what we're looking to do is check to see if we actually have patients with multiple missed check-ins. So I've opened up Appian's expression editor within the process model. And what I'm going to do is call a rule that we have and you can see that Appian will suggest rules for you that are in the system so that you don't have to type everything out manually there. So we're checking to see if patients with multiple missed check-ins is null or blank. So I'm able to just click this very simply on the left-hand side. I don't have to type that out. All right, so we're saying if this is null or blank, we don't have any patients with multiple missed check-ins, we're going to not send any emails because we don't have any patients that we need to check up on. Otherwise, we do want to send those emails. And I'm also going to rename this. All right. But now let's go into actually configuring how we're sending those emails. So the first thing I want to do is go to this other tab where we're configuring if we're sending multiple emails or just one. And for our purposes, we do want to send multiple emails because we want to send one email per person who's missed those multiple check-ins. So we do that there with this easy to configure interface. And we're also going to say we don't want to move away from this node until all the instances are done. Next, we're moving over to the setup tab where we have a couple fields we need to configure. First, we're going to say that we're sending this email as the process model. What that means is for the people who are receiving this email, the sender is going to show up as MHM notify patients of daily check-in. Now that can be configured to come from a custom email address or whoever kicked off the process, but for our purposes, just showing off as notify patients of daily check-in is fine for our sender for today. All right, so now we need to figure out who we're sending these emails to. And as I said earlier, we already grabbed the provider email recipient, so I can just plop that easily right in here. Next, we're configuring the subject line. And so for here, since we're sending multiple emails, we're sending one email per patient. So in our subject line, we're going to say that the patient name has missed multiple daily check-ins. And so to do that, we want to index into that list of our patients that we have for each instance that we're kicking off of this send email node. All right, so that right there is grabbing our patient name for each email we're sending. And then we're going to add a little extra context here that our patient has missed multiple daily check-ins. All right. And then the last thing we want to do for our configure email is actually set up the email body. Now I have the text for that already written out, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that in. And we're also going to do the same thing here with grabbing the specific patient name for each email that we're sending. So I'm going to copy paste that piece of code we already built out from the subject line. Oh, sorry. I'm going to put that in here by using the expression editor. All right, there we go. All right, so that is all we needed to do on the configuring side. This script task here is a placeholder here for us for if we're in the situation where we're not sending any emails, we're going to go ahead and skip sending that email and then move on in the process. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, save and publish our process model. Now, as I said, this does kick off automatically at 8 p.m. every day. But for the purpose of our demo, we're going to kick this off right now so that we can see those emails get sent. All right, so I'm going to give this a refresh a couple times here. And you can see that we did have some patients that missed multiple check-ins and we sent some emails. So I'm going to swap back over to our demo email here. And you can see we have a patient who missed multiple daily check-ins. So we have John Smith here. And you can see in here that we also have John Smith subbed out for our patient name. All right, so that's what I had to show for how easy it is to either update the branding or even add a new addition to our existing workflows in Appian.
Thanks, Megan. The next thing we wanted to just briefly chat about with you all is, before we get into Q&A, what are some of the planned future enhancements we have for this solution? We are really excited to bring what we have to market and work with you all as our customers. But some things that we're working on to make it better are continuing to expand its computer adaptive testing capabilities, which is really important for doing patient-reported outcomes. Another thing that we're adding, we're really excited about, is an authorized guardian mode, right? So what does that mean? That is a case where, if you either have minors or senior citizens that need to get care and you needed to help them set up their visits or manage their care at all, that you can go through the steps to make sure that somebody who is authorized to act on their behalf can do that and effectively help coordinate the care for you. I think that could also help us expand this into a lot of other home health care applications besides just mental health. We are going to be expanding the amount of connected health devices that we can support. We didn't show it too much here today, but we also have the ability to work with Alexa right now. We're going to add other Bluetooth devices in case you wanted to get other vitals and other things like blood pressures, things that you might look for in other healthcare settings. And finally, there are a lot of public APIs out there that have a lot of rich information that could really help improve the overall user experience. One of those would be the Blue Button API. And that API allows you to really have a patient bring in all of their health data, which could help them in managing their overall care. So those are some exciting things that we're expecting to bring in the near future. So stay tuned for updates from us on that. With that, here we do want to have some time here at the end for some Q&A. And Jason, I don't know if you want to kick us off here.
Yeah, and we actually had a number of questions come through our Q&A matrix here. So let me start with a couple of them. So, what do you think were the biggest challenges you had in building this? I can imagine that there's both a technical side of this, and then there is a domain expertise side of this. So what made this doable for Ignyte?
Yeah, I think the key here was we put on our consulting hats, right? We said, all right, if we were to help a consultant or help one of our clients that wanted to create an application like this, what would we do? And it started with, like you said, a lot of market research and just researching what are the best practices in mental health care delivery? What are the best practices in telemedicine in general? What are other systems out there that might be doing a little piece of this puzzle today? And how would they work better if we were to integrate that whole workflow end to end? And then what technologies do we have to do that? And that was Appian, right? It had the ability to connect all of that workflow together. The other thing it did was, once you were able to do testing with the various APIs that were out there, the low code integrations really made it an achievable problem for us to solve, and we feel like we're really proud of the results that came out of it.
Another question that came in was around integrations. So obviously you integrated with Microsoft Teams, and I'd love to hear how you did that. But one of the things that we see, especially with our customers, is when we show integrations, there's not a whole lot to show because you're basically invoking services, things like that. We also had a question around the Bluetooth integration and how that might work. So if you wouldn't mind just addressing kind of the Teams part and then the other part, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. On the Teams side, there's extensive APIs that are available from Microsoft, and what we were able to do is have by pre-configuring the right URLs for Teams, and you have to do a little bit of setup so that you have like that person's Teams account set up, but it's really just all through Microsoft, and it allows you to trigger it like you would manually, but using the API, you can programmatically call it and schedule a meeting and even do meet nows. I'll have Liam answer a little bit more technically on that in a moment. To jump over to the Bluetooth part of the question, the ability there is with the Appian mobile app. Once it's connected to the Bluetooth, that's all like on somebody's phone, right? We would be able to do API calls back to Appian just from that mobile app from there. So it's really about just taking the right measurements and triggering the events through Appian to make the right calls. Liam, do you want to add on anything on its little richness to how we approach the Teams integration? And it is a little bit challenging to demonstrate live because it involves multiple people. So we're kind of perfecting the best way to do that.
Sure. Yeah, that's a great question, Jason. So I know, like you touched on before, the Microsoft Graph API or documentation really is very rich, and something that Appian really excels with. And as a developer, something I basically see on a daily basis is just how easy it is to configure these low-code integrations. So all you got to do is set up a quick little connected system, a nice little safe tunnel between our Appian system and the third party that we're trying to connect with. Again, that can all be done through a simple Appian wizard. And then once you have that set up, utilizing publicly available documentation from the third party to just essentially plug and play with the Appian integration object, it's incredibly powerful. It really takes the necessity to write complex HTTP code out of the equation and really lets you spin up something quick, effectively, and efficiently.
Yeah. We did a lot of testing with Postman, just all those APIs that are out there, right? You can do a lot of testing really quickly and get up to speed.
Excellent. How do you handle, so obviously you're dealing with health information. How do you handle HIPAA compliance in this?
That's a great question. First off, we started by using HIPAA compliant components, right? We tried to build this with off-the-shelf components, the biggest one being Appian's platform, right? So if you go to the Appian website, you can see all of the information in the ways that Appian has been really certified as a proven HIPAA compliant platform to start with. So that we feel really great as our foundation. And then for different things like the voice assistants and the video conferencing and other capabilities, there are actually a lot of different choices out there, right? Big brand name things that I'm not going to name, but they're not all HIPAA compliant. So we tried to choose ones where those manufacturers or those vendors they're already putting out their information about how those platforms are HIPAA compliant. So we chose things that were also already HIPAA compliant. So like our video Teams, there's plenty of literature out there about how Microsoft has put Teams out there with the intent of it being HIPAA compliant and it's gotten it certified. Same thing on the Alexa side, right? Alexa as a voice assistant is a HIPAA compliant voice assistant. And, every implementation as we work with clients, we'd have to make sure that their individual requirements don't make it, break any HIPAA rules. But, we have the skills and experience that we understand how that works. One of the other features that we'll work in is like a consent module, things like that, where you're able to track that. But those are all really important to make sure that you maintain your HIPAA compliance. But it also starts with making sure you have the pieces and parts you used are HIPAA compliant.
Okay, then that makes sense. We did have another question, which would be, could you configure this in a way that you could manage groups of people, like cohorts of people in a group therapy session? I would assume using Teams and things like that, you could kind of loop or kind of group customers, or not customers, but patients together.
No, absolutely, you can. And we have actually developed that ability to support a group therapy session. What we'll do is, we'll have maybe we'll post a video of how that will work. I think that one's a little bit easier to record, but we have actually set up group therapies where you have the ability to join the group, et cetera. So probably would be a good thing for us to post as a follow-up to this is a little video demo specifically diving in on that. But I think that would be really exciting. And we have that capability right now.
And I've got one more question, which is, what do you see, I guess, as both your target audience, who is this solution probably best suited for, and how would they access it?
Yeah, so we see a few different types of organizations that could take advantage of this, and I think they all share the characteristic that they're an organization that wants to really rapidly add to their existing capabilities and maybe expand access to mental health professionals. So if you are a public health agency or even a private health plan or health system, and you have patients or constituents or citizens that are maybe in far-flung or remote areas that may have a challenge getting access to that kind of a care, this is a solution that can really help you to do that. It's also based on technologies that you probably already have in your organization, right? You're probably already a Teams or a Microsoft customer. You have access to Teams, you're paying for it, you can use it. And at the same time, if you were to use Appian, we could come in to rapidly take this solution and really work with you to tailor it to fit your specific requirements in, a matter of weeks, not months, right? It's already, been proven out. I think that's the key.
Sure. Well, with that, I really want to thank you all for spending the time with us. I mean, we had a lot of submissions when we did our hackathon, and to win that took quite a bit of effort. And it's clear that you guys have focused not just on the function, but clearly the form of the application. And what we've seen with our customer base is, adoption is key. And making the experience simple for an end user to pick up, especially the client-facing side, I think makes a huge difference in being able to push this out with as little training as possible. So I really want to thank you all for spending the time with us today. And for me, I'm going to sign out. But thanks everybody who joined us today. And this video will be archived for folks to look at later. Thank you all.
Thanks everyone.